What's up, sword nerds? Here I am with a custom katana from Ryan Sword that I've also heavily modified myself. So this is a 40 millimeter extra wide Motohaba, and it's an Osoraku geometry, which of course is not historical on a katana. As far as I know, it was only actually put on Tanto, not even Wakizashi. Feel free to correct me if I'm wrong about that. So let's look at a few modifications I did. I changed out the Manuki. I kind of used, I found some little like pine cone charms, which I kind of ground down to half size and fit them in as the Manuki. And I took the brass fittings and I put them in a little container with salt and ammonia. And what you get is you get this kind of patina you can see that's on there. And so it has this pine tree theme, which is why I had like the pine cone on there. And here you can see the Kashira. I think that looks really good. Now, one problem with this is that the habaki were this silver color. I don't think they were brass. So what I ended up, not habaki, I'm sorry, the seppa. So here you can see the seppa I made shaped like a pine cone out of copper. And I made these from scratch. I took a flat sheet of copper and also treated them to the same ammonia and salt patina treatment that I did with the rest of the fittings. So let's look at let's take off the scabbard and look at the blade in just a second, but hold on, let's take a look at what I did to the scabbard. So on one side I painted this pine cone with pine needles on it, a little bit of gold paint as well, and on the other side you can see I've got this pine tree, these kind of dark blue colors and colors that I think accented the patina, and also the color of the Ito wrap on the handle. So I created this painting of this pine tree with some stars and stuff above it. So pretty happy with how that worked out. Then I kind of put some protective lacquer over the top of that. So let's look at the habaki and everything real quick here. So here, let's look at the habaki. And you can see the seppa on the other side, how that looks. And you can also see here that I made on the habaki, I engraved a little tree design after I made the patina. I went back and scratched away some of the patina with a little engraving tool and made a little tree design on both sides of that as well, just as a little touch. So I'm pretty happy with how that turned out. I've also messed around with the blade using vinegar to kind of change the pattern of how they had the darker and lighter contrast to kind of create the pattern of the Osoraku on here, which doesn't, there's not really a geometric Yokote on Osorakus, really. That's really done just by how you do the polishing and everything. And I kind of played around with theirs and kind of changed it and did my own thing, and I kind of messed it up when I sharpened it. I kind of, sometimes you wiggle a little too far and you really kind of goof up. Put a few scratches on the blade, and that can be unscratched, but I'm just not super uptight about junk like that. If this had a fancy hamon on it and was differentially hardened or made out of tamahagane or something, I might be concerned about that. But this is just through hardened 1095 or T10. I forgot what I asked them for. And this sword, to me, is a really nice sword, and I think I paid less than $400 for this sword, $300 and something dollars. So it was very affordable. Now I did order this custom, but if you go to RVA Katana, they sell products by Ryan Sword's sister company, which is Legacy. And Legacy, through RVA, you can get 40 millimeter Osoraku blades on katana like this from RVA Katana. The fittings, of course, are going to be different, but you can order those through RVA, or you can go to Ryan Sword and get your own custom thing from the ground up and mess it up or tinker with it like I did. So anyway, we'll cut with it in a little bit and see how it does. So here we are again with the 40 millimeter wide Ryan Sword custom Osoraku katana that I ordered. You can get a similar sword to this that is differentially hardened out of T10, has an actual hamon on it, from RVA Katana, sold through Legacy Steel, which is the sister company to Ryan Sword. So check them out if you want to get one that's available in the USA and you'd rather have one that has an actual hamon on it. So let's see how it cuts this map. Oh! Not quite. Close, but no banana. Or is it cigar? I don't know. Let's see if we can get a final cut off the stand with this scrap here. Yay! You swung it, but you cut. Got another bit here on a failed cut. Let's see if we can cut it from the other direction. Yep. Cut this little chungus too. I can get it to stay still. Die, chungus! Oh! Cool sword. Windy out here, as you can tell. Never caught pool noodles before. Got a moving target today. So one thing I wanted to say about Ryan Sword is that they seem to make a lot of very customized swords. So if you've got like a really weird sword design that you want to make, and maybe you don't have the money to go with, you know, a fully custom one-off smith, Ryan is an option to investigate. I've seen them make European and fantasy style swords, you know, with completely custom pommels and guards and all that kind of stuff. So they're really willing to work with you and try to do something weird or different. And you've seen them make all kind of wild Japanese designs, Chinese designs, just all kind of swords. And so when I think of Ryan Sword, you know, that's one thing I think about them. They make, you know, decent, you know, Japanese type of swords and other swords, but that you know, custom sword is one thing I think they do that's really kind of stands out with them. So let's see if I can cut a pool noodle. Oh! No! Hank! No! Launched it! Got a good slice out of it there. Slicing it up. Oh! Well, I can cut down. Ah! Bottle's almost got me. Look. Look. Oh! learning my technique on that one. My first ever 2 pool noodles. Flying pool noodle, yo! So another thing I like about this 40mm wide Osoraku design is I love swords that are super choppy but super pokey too, you know. A lot of people these days especially seem really inordinately worried about how armor penetrating the point of their sword is, but you know, I'm not really worried about that on my plastic bottles here. I need to get a little closer. Try one on the other side. Oh, drenched myself. Yay! Let's try another horizontal, see if I can knock a baseball bat in. Yay! Fun, cool, fantasy katana. Even cooler because I customized my fittings for it. So, I've got another Ryan sword that's like a production GN. I've already done a video on it and had good success with it too. And for a pattern welded blade with really neat fittings, I thought it was a really good deal. And this one was 300 something bucks. And it was also fun making my own seppa and doing my own little things to it. So yeah, this is a cool, fun katana. It's one of my favorite katana to bring out, cut and play around with. So yeah, Ryan sword I've had a good experience with. Now if you're, I've heard people make some complaints that are probably maybe in the more higher end kind of katanas and more exacting kind of historical or practitioner grade swords that Ryan sword may not be the best for, but for a fun, cool, different sword, I think you can't go wrong with them. They make a solid basic sword in my opinion. So, cool.